Are dating apps helping or destroying our dating lives? In today's video, we'll take a deep dive into the world of dating apps. We'll specifically focus on how they impact the queer dating community in South Africa. We'll go into the history, the penetration, the benefits, the drawbacks, and even the dangers of using dating apps. Ultimately, we want to answer the question, are dating apps a blessing or a curse? Let's begin with a brief history and background of dating apps. Now, we all know that dating apps are nothing new. In fact, they've been around since the early days of the internet. However, one of the big milestones was Grindr. Grindr launched in 2009 and was the first geolocation-based dating app. That completely changed how we make connections with other queer people, and it's become one of the main ways that a lot of us still maintain connection with our community. Dating apps essentially have completely changed how we as humans form romantic connection. After Grindr came Tinder, which was launched in 2012. Tinder popularized the swiping feature. Then came Bumble in 2014, which was basically built to give women the control, to encourage women to be the initiator of conversations on dating apps. Since then, there have been many other apps who cater to different communities, different groups, and have different functions. Essentially, they all are there to connect. And while dating apps have grown rapidly in the last couple of years, they've had a very complex impact on our community specifically, but in general, just the culture of dating. And in this video, we'll try to unpack that. How many of us use dating apps? Let's get into it. A 2017 study found that 1 in 3 adult South Africans use dating apps. But what was interesting about this study was that only about 10% of the people who were using dating apps actually were using dating apps to find a long-term connection that may lead to marriage. 50% of the people that were using dating apps and online dating were actually there because they were bored, they wanted to have fun, or they just wanted casual interaction. And I think this explains why so many of us who want real, genuine connections feel like being on dating apps is a mixed bag. There's so many people with so many diverse intentions, it becomes really difficult to sort through who's the one that's there for the right reason and who's not. Let's get into the positives. What are the benefits of being on dating apps for queer people? For many queer people, dating apps provide a crucial buffer against homophobia. They're a relatively private way for one to explore their sexuality without the immediate fear of discrimination. They also allow us to connect with people who have relatively similar interests. And they allow us to get out of our immediate circle and find people who have similar interests, values, and wants, at least on a surface level. And for people who live in small communities or even conservative towns, this is one of the only ways that they're able to find people who are just like them. Now that we know how dating apps can be good for you, let's get into the negatives of using dating apps. The first concern is mental health. There have been several studies that show that dating apps are associated with increased levels of anxiety and depression for people who use them. And this is particularly common amongst people in the LGBTQ community. Then there's the fact that dating apps have essentially gamified our relationships and romantic lives. The mere action of swiping through tons and tons of profiles and trying to determine who might be the best match for you has made dating a game. And that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it disconnects people from the actual purpose of what they're doing, which should be to find a partner that they can connect with. And then there's the big one. And this is a concern about safety.
Exchanged for ransom through the gay dating app Grindr. The case was reported to the Cleveland police station in Johannesburg today. No arrests have yet been made. It comes after a Wits University student was kidnapped back in September by criminals also targeting young men on Grindr. Newsroom Africa's Nobile Madlala is tracking.
Dating apps are known to be a prime place to be taken. There have been so many headlines in the news about kidnappings, killings, swindlings of people who use dating apps. So it's really important to try to be safe when you use dating apps because it just isn't safe sometimes. It also creates this fallacy of a multitude of options, right? Because you're seeing so many profiles that flash across your screen, you think, oh, I can just dump the other 5 connections that I have, because surely there's 100 more that I can connect with. Well, for a lot of people, that's not true. When you look beyond the surface level, while we may be attracted to someone physically, it does not necessarily mean that we'll align in all the other things that we want in a relationship, like similar values, similar behaviors, or even goals in life. And let's not forget about so many of the other problems that we maybe don't talk about too much regarding dating apps. For example, the racism, the classism that goes on there, and just the overvaluation of physical attractiveness. Essentially, when you put yourself on a dating app, you are allowing people to judge you solely based on how you look. So it puts this really high price on looking good, but you always have to wonder, what about everything else? And how do we get to everything else when the system is set up so that we're always moving on to the next? Let's say that you're one of the people that decides that dating apps are not for you. What are your alternatives? Well, this is basically about being brave enough to put yourself out there, to invest in activities that you like that may involve you meeting other people. So you've probably heard it before. They say join a sports club, have a hobby, join a choir, join an acting group, join the community center. Try to be around people as much as possible. Ultimately, it's about exposure. It's about you putting yourself in situations where you can meet other people. Another thing that I know a lot of people are very against is date your friends. Date your friends. Date your friends' friends. It's risky, but what if it works out? And I feel like dating your friends sometimes, or even your friends' friends, you're dating people that are vetted already. Either because you're already friends with them and you know a lot about their personality, or they're friends with your friends, so it wouldn't be like a stranger on Tinder who's probably going to try to steal your money. Another thing that you can do is you can invest in matchmaking. So there are quite a few organizations that I know of, I'll try to link them down below, who curate experiences for singles. So they curate singles meetups, picnics, fun walks, hikes. It's just activities for single people who are open to meet other people. So that would be an opportunity for you to not only meet the potential partner, life partner, if that's what you're looking for, but you could also make friends during these activities. I've read studies that basically conclude that relationships that started on dating apps are less fulfilling. They come with a lot of anxiety. They come with a lot of depression, right? And then I've also read studies where the conclusion is, well, it makes no difference where you meet your partner. In fact, there are some studies that say, overall, dating apps have a positive impact on the queer community because it allows us to connect, and it creates ease in terms of finding people who we might be able to be intimate and truly ourselves with. So ultimately, we all know that dating apps have undeniably changed the way that we make romantic connections. In fact, they've changed how we connect with people in general. However, there are a lot of opportunities and even challenges that you need to navigate if you do choose to use dating apps. So, the question remains, are dating apps a blessing or a curse? Well, that's up to you, your own boundaries, your needs, and how you choose to navigate your dating life. They're a great tool to meet a lot of people, but you also have to be really careful about who you invest your time with. And that's about the number of people that you are talking to, and also about how intimate you get with those people. What's your experience with dating apps? If you've used them, have you been successful? Maybe you're married because you met your partner on a dating app. Or maybe you are one of the people that are choosing an alternative route. Either way, please comment, like, share, subscribe. And if you like this video, you're probably going to like next week's topic, which is navigating the workplace as a queer person in South Africa.